In a world where mysterious gates unleash monsters into reality, hunters are humanity's only defense. Among them is Sung Jinwoo, known as the weakest hunter of all. Labeled an E rank, he is constantly underestimated, mocked, and pitied by others. Yet Jin Woo fights on. Not for glory, but for his family. His mother's illness and his sister's future weigh heavily on him, giving him a quiet determination that few notice. During a routine dungeon raid, the weak monsters are no challenge for the stronger hunters. But for Jin Woo, every battle is a fight for survival. And when the party discovers a hidden double dungeon, curiosity leads them into danger far greater than they expected. Within the chamber, giant statues stir to life. Doors slam shut, and the hunters realize they are trapped. Fear sets in, and Jin Woo faces a perilous trial that will test not just his courage, but his very limits. And soon, strange rules begin to reveal themselves. One by one, the hunters try to figure out how to survive, but mistakes come with deadly consequences. Amid the chaos, Jin Woo starts noticing patterns. The commandments carved into the temple might actually be clues to staying alive. With each step, the trial becomes harder, pushing the group to their limits. Sacrifices are made, fear spreads, and Jin Woo is forced to show courage, even though he's the weakest among them. By the end, his fate hangs by a thread, as he's faced with a choice that could change everything. Just as the massive stone statue prepares to finish him off, something unexpected happens. A glowing system window appears before Jin Woo's eyes, offering him a choice. It asks if he wants to become a player. After barely surviving the dungeon, Jin Woo wakes up in a hospital bed. Everyone believes he was lucky to live, but he knows something is different. That mysterious system window that appeared in front of him hasn't gone away. The system gives him daily quests to complete. And when he follows them, his body grows stronger. For the first time, Jin Woo notices his stats increasing, like a character in a video game. He begins training and slowly realizes that he's no longer stuck as the weakest hunter. After seeing his power steadily rise, Jin Woo decides that training isn't enough anymore. To truly understand how strong he's become, he enters a dungeon completely alone, something no E-rank hunter would ever dare to do. At first, the shadows of the dungeon and the monsters lurking inside feel overwhelming. But this time, Jin Woo doesn't back down. He draws his blade, faces the creatures head-on, and one by one defeats them. Each kill pushes his body and skills further, and he can feel the system rewarding him with growth. Inside the dungeon, Jin Woo faces waves of enemies until the true boss appears, a monstrous giant snake lurking in the shadows. For the old Jin Woo, this would have been instant death. But now, armed with his growing stats and new skills, he doesn't run. The snake lunges with terrifying speed and strength, but Jin Woo dodges, counters, and presses the fight. The battle is brutal, but each strike proves how far he's come. With determination and courage, Jin Woo finally takes down the towering serpent. By the end of the raid, Jin Woo emerges alive, battered, but victorious. After surviving his first solo dungeon, Jin Woo's transformation becomes impossible to ignore. His once frail and skinny body now shows lean muscle, sharper eyes, and a stronger presence. Even his sister and hospital staff notice how much healthier and confident he looks compared to the weak hunter they used to know. That's when he's offered a new job, a raid that promises good pay. On the surface, it seems like an easy deal. Join a party, help with the dungeon, and walk away richer. Jin Woo accepts quietly, determined to test his limits again. But once inside the dungeon, things quickly go wrong. The monsters are stronger than expected, and the raid team panics. When a massive giant spider appears, the group abandons Jin Woo, leaving him to face the deadly boss alone. Despite the betrayal, Jin Woo doesn't hesitate. He steels himself, ready to fight the spider, using every ounce of strength the system has given him. After being left behind in the dungeon, Jin Woo faces the giant spider alone. His new strength and system-enhanced abilities allow him to dodge, counter, and fight strategically. The battle is tense, but he manages to defeat the spider, proving his growth. However, the danger isn't over. Some of the raid teammates who survived earlier monsters return. Instead of helping him, they see Jin Woo as a threat and attack him out of fear and jealousy. They underestimate how much he has grown. Jin Woo, now stronger and faster, easily counters their attacks, demonstrating that he's no longer the weak hunter they once knew. After surviving the giant spider and the betrayal of his raid team, Jin Woo's confidence continues to grow. He knows he can no longer rely on others, so he focuses on training and solo dungeon raids to push his limits further. Jin Woo takes on a dungeon alone, facing multiple monsters that are stronger and more cunning than anything he's fought before. Each encounter tests his reflexes, strategy, and stamina, and he begins to notice subtle hints from the system. Clues that he might be able to harness more than just brute strength. After countless solo dungeon runs, Jin Woo's power has grown at an unbelievable pace. His speed, strength, and instincts are far beyond what an E-rank hunter should ever possess. Other hunters begin to notice. Whispers spread that Jin Woo might have been hiding his true skills all along. Some suspect he's been concealing his rank, while others dismiss it as impossible. Not long after, he accepts a new raid request, one that pairs him with a group of hunters and dangerous prisoners working under special permission. At first, it seems like an ordinary dungeon crawl, but Jin Woo quickly notices that something is off. The dungeon's monsters are weak, far too easy for the group's level. Yet, the leader Kang Tae-shik acts strangely, keeping Jin Woo on the sidelines, where he can keep eye on him. Tension builds, and Jin Woo starts to sense the trap. Jin Woo realized that he was right. Kang Tae-shik's team and the prisoners plan to kill them and eliminate Jin Woo. Instead of being the victim, Jin Woo unleashes his true power. He wipes out the prisoners and betrayers with overwhelming strength, shocking everyone by the end. The system rewards him to be stronger, proving once again that Jin Woo is no longer the weak hunter everyone thought he was. After leaving the dungeon, Jin Woo doesn't hide what happened, but the truth is twisted. Official reports list the deaths as accidents, keeping suspicion away from him. Still, guilds and officials start whispering. His survival rate, his rapid growth, everything about him seems unnatural. A new notification appears from the system. Jin Woo reads it carefully, realizing this is more than a simple mission. With determination, he accepts the quest, knowing it's a path that will push him to his absolute limits. The air is thick with tension, and every step echoes through the dark corridors. Creatures attack relentlessly, testing his strength, speed, and instincts. Each encounter feeds the system, leveling him up and sharpening his abilities. Deeper inside, the threats become deadlier. The monsters move faster, strike harder, and force Jin Woo to adapt on the fly. At the heart of the dungeon, a massive boss emerges. Jin Woo knows this is the ultimate test, one that will decide if he can truly rise above all hunters. Igris attacks with overwhelming force. Each strike is precise, deadly, and seemingly unstoppable. Jin Woo dodges, counters, and strikes with everything he has learned. The battle stretches to the limits of his endurance, testing his speed, reflexes, and combat instincts. As the fight rages on, Jin Woo begins to see the boss's patterns. Every movement becomes predictable, every strike calculable. With relentless determination, he exploits these openings, landing decisive blows that wear Igris down. Finally, with one final precise strike, Jin Woo defeats Igris. Exhausted but triumphant, he is rewarded by the system with a new ability, Arise, allowing him to resurrect defeated enemies as loyal shadow soldiers. Jin Woo focuses on Igris, the towering knight he just battled. With a command, the boss slowly rises from the ground, now glowing faintly with a shadowy aura. Its eyes, once full of menace, now follow Jin Woo's orders. The terrifying knight that had nearly crushed him is now part of Jin Woo's growing army, ready to fight by his side. This moment is monumental. The very enemy who was once the ultimate threat now becomes a weapon. The dungeon, once a place of death and danger, transforms into Jin Woo's proving ground. With Igris and the other shadows he commands, he can now take on far greater threats, and his power begins to scale beyond imagination. There, a squad of hunters touches down on Jeju Island and uncovers that the giant mutant ants have figured out how to fly. Our worn-out protagonist finally manages to hit the mattress after grinding his class change quest, but his sister rings him up, demanding he appear at a parent-teacher conference. Even showing up looking half dead, he walks into the school sporting an insane transformation, is leaving his sister's classmates completely spellbound. His sister teases that he got a girlfriend, but he just pinches her cheek and brushes it off. At the meeting, the teacher raises the question of what would happen if the girl awakened as a hunter. Jin Woo shuts that down immediately, saying he'd never let her risk her life in the dungeons. The conversation soon shifts to Song Yi, the stubborn E-rank friend who refuses to abandon the hunter lifestyle. Realizing the girl is set on becoming a hunter, Jin Woo concludes the best solution is to drag her on a field trip and show her what the life actually looks like. Meanwhile, at the airport, the jacked Dong-Soo Hwang arrives from America, grumbling that Korea is behind the times and mocking the association manager who showed up to welcome him. He makes it crystal clear he only came to track down and eliminate Jin Woo and Jin Ho inside a dungeon, and even calls the suit Jin Chul garbage. Jin Chul simply replies that he's just doing his job. The guild masters learn that the Jeju ants have sprouted wings, and the chairman orders a full investigation into the mutation. Jin Woo escorts the stubborn girl to a C-rank White Tiger Guild dungeon. The squad is packed with arrogant rich kids. The team leader, an A-rank tank named Chul Kim, looks down on the two E-ranks from the moment he sees them. One of the organizers pleads with Jin Woo to hold back his power and let the rookies get some experience. Jin Woo agrees to dial it down. The moment they step inside, the landscape shifts to a brutal blizzard, and they realize they've walked straight into a red gate. Before anyone can react, an ice arrow punches through a C-rank hunter's skull. There, a second arrow flies directly at the schoolgirl, but Jin Woo snatches the frozen shaft out of the air bare-handed. Two sadistic ice elves cackle from the treetops and vanish into the snow. The A-rank decides that dragging the weaker hunters along isn't his responsibility. He takes all the capable fighters with him and instructs the weak ones to fend for themselves. While the arrogant A-rank's crew runs into ice bears, Jin Woo conjures thick fur coats to keep his group warm. They assume it's spatial magic. Jin Woo then dismantles a pack of bears with his bare fists to farm XP. They're outside. The entire elite assembles at the red gate. Dong-Soo Hwang is furious because he can't enter, and the guild master despairs, knowing everyone inside may be in serious danger. Inside, Jin Woo puts his shadow slaves to work hunting bears. When the colossal alpha bear arrives and demolishes Jin Woo's soldiers, he calls forth his dark knight Igris. Igris draws his blade and cuts through the massive creature with zero effort. Jin Woo realizes that if Igris had used that sword against him earlier, he would not have survived. Far away, the A-rank super squad is getting shredded by the ice elves. While his teammates get riddled with arrows and stabbed, Chul Kim completely loses his nerve and bolts through the forest in terror, while the elf commander watches from atop a white horse. Jin Woo raises his hand and converts a mountain of dead polar bears into shadow soldiers. Meanwhile, back in the real world, barely 3 hours have passed. Dong-Soo Hwang grows impatient and goes after Manager On. Before the suit gets hurt, Yunho Baek materializes and drives his claws against Dong-Soo, sending out a powerful shockwave. Inspector Jin Chul Woo intervenes and tells Dong-Soo to stand down. Dong-Soo pins the blame on rich kid Jin Ho and walks away. Back in the dungeon, Chul Kim stumbles into the bear carcasses, assumes the elves did it, and flees. Further in, the squad of weaker hunters is gathered around a campfire. When Chul finds them alive, he draws his sword and threatens to cut everyone down. Jin Woo steps out of the shadows and knocks him out with a single slap. The invisible elves close in around the group. Their boss Barca begins taunting them, and Jin Woo talks back in the creature's own language. After tearing an elf apart, our hunter discovers that these monsters carry an innate drive to slaughter humans, except when it comes to him. Barca offers a truce, but Jin Woo rejects it and deploys his shadow battalion. Mid-battle, Chul regains consciousness and tries to stab Jin Woo in the back. Igris kills him instantly, and Jin Woo extracts the tank's shadow, creating a new soldier he names Iron. Jin Woo, Igris, and Iron form a ruthless trio. While the protagonist distracts Barca with a thrown dagger, Iron seizes the boss from behind and crushes him with a colossal hammer. The gate turns blue again, and the group walks out of the dungeon. Jin Ho is shocked by the death of his tank. He tries to confront Jin Woo, but gets shut down immediately, and ends up begging to hire him. The following morning, Jin Woo links up with Jin Ho, who is geared up and ready for the next mission. Jin Ho watches in disbelief as the Shadow Army carves through beasts and harvests magic stones, while Jin Woo does nothing. With the quests done, the two go celebrate over BBQ and drinks. Jin Ho opens up about his family situation and asks to be taken in as a little brother, and Jin Woo accepts. Later, Jin Ho confronts his father and demands control of the guild. His father agrees on the condition that the protagonist comes as part of the deal. Meanwhile, in the US, a man who spent a decade isolated inside a dungeon is sitting in an interrogation room. The arrogant S-rank Dong-Su Huang shows up to translate and discovers the man is Jin Woo's long-lost father. Dong-Su tries to threaten him, but takes such a severe beating that the entire building collapses. Dong-Su is left buried in the rubble while the old man vanishes. Back in Korea, the protagonist heads to the Demon King's castle to collect the ingredients for his comatose mother's cure. The system assigns him a quest to wipe out 10,000 monsters. He summons a colossal shadow ice bear named Tank and uses it to tear through everything in his path. While dealing with the 50th floor boss, Volcan of Greed, a bloated aggressive demon, Jin Woo cuts him down without difficulty. With his supplies exhausted by the 75th floor, he pauses, having earned significant level-ups, a new secret key, and 2/3 of the cure ingredients. Realizing he needs a higher rank to access better dungeons, he heads to the Hunters Association to update his badge. A staff member spots him and calls it in. Jin Woo jams his hand into the testing machine and the evaluation system nearly overloads. The staff panics, warning that his energy exceeds the meter's capacity, and officially declares him the country's 10th S-rank hunter. The commotion pulls in Inspector Woo and Guild Master Choi, who had been trying to identify the mystery intruder from the Red Gate. Choi tries to pitch him immediately. Jin Woo ignores him and walks out just as Baek arrives. After visiting his mom at the hospital, Jin Woo gets intercepted by Woo and escorted to Chairman Go. The old man offers him a position at the association. The protagonist declines, stating his only ambition is to clear dungeons and grow stronger. Meanwhile, Dong-Su wakes up in a hospital bed and tells a suited handler that Jin Woo's father is not a normal human. Jin Woo finds a gig as a freelance miner in an A-rank gate. Once Hae-In and the elite hunters clear the surface creatures, the mining team moves in. They're at the first break. Jin Woo slips away from the group and heads toward the boss's lair. He knows he can't fight the creature, but feels compelled to gauge its power. Before he can do anything, Hae-In appears and orders him to turn around before he triggers the monster and gets everyone killed. She leans in and catches his scent. The miners gossip that she has a condition that makes every hunter smell unbearable to her, which is why she always covers her nose. Jin Woo doesn't carry that scent, and Hae-In calls her contacts to run a background check on him. When she finds out his file is sealed, she notes that he's the first hunter whose presence hasn't bothered her. Thereafter negotiating a better rate to join more raids, Jin Woo is approached by Captain Ki-hoon's son, who needs the protagonist to accompany his team on an A-rank raid in exchange for his support in getting a promotion. The moment they enter the dungeon, the team clears some low-grade monsters, but a gang of jacked high orcs shows up and the situation turns dangerous. Jin Woo slips into the shadows and quietly helps the hunters without revealing himself. A female hunter notices his technique but agrees to keep quiet. When the hunters try to retreat, they slam into an invisible barrier that injures anyone who attempts to force through it. 50 high orcs emerge from the rear, and the tribal leader Kargalgan appears and gives Ki-hoon the choice of fighting or dying. Ki-hoon chooses to fight. Kargalgan retreats to his base to wait while the team braces for the assault. The atmosphere grows grim enough that the female hunter hands Jin Woo a sealed letter, her will, and asks him to deliver it to her family if things go wrong. Meanwhile, Hae-In returns to the mining site and learns that Jin Woo went into that dungeon. With no exit available, Ki-hoon's squad prepares to hold their ground while Jin Woo steps up. Hae-In grabs a pickaxe and heads in herself. Ki-hoon's squad is surrounded by Kargalgan's full orc army. The orc commander declares he will torture and consume everyone. Ki-hoon charges in alone and gets hurled backward by gravity magic. Jin Woo steps forward and unleashes his shadow army. Inspector Woo arrives at the gate and learns that Jin Woo and Hae-In are already inside. The fight intensifies. Jin Woo deploys a new technique to strengthen his shadows, but the enemy wizard hits back hard, pushing Jin Woo back and tearing apart his shadow soldiers. Woo, sensing the dungeon's energy approaching S-rank levels, calls for backup. Inside, Jin Woo drinks a potion, raises the fallen orcs as new soldiers, and warns Kargulgan directly that he will be next to fall. Kargulgan sends his forces in. Ki-hoon's crew tries to help, but is blocked by enemy magic. When Kargulgan attempts to use his abilities directly on Jin Woo, the magic fails completely. Jin Woo deploys his own mages who shatter the orc's shield. Hae-In and Woo arrive in time to witness Jin Woo's army dismantle Kargulgan entirely. Jin Woo extracts the boss's shadow and names his new soldier Tusk. Afterward, Woo asks everyone present to say nothing about what they witnessed. Later, when Choi tries to get information about Jin Woo's true strength from Ki-hoon, the captain makes it clear the protagonist is far beyond anything Choi could challenge. Choi asks for a meeting. Things settle down, with Jin Woo and Jin Ho relaxing over coffee while outside reporters swarm over the awakening of a wealthy young man named Min Sung Lee, who watches everything from inside his car. Baek and Choi arrive at the Hunters Association and are immediately surrounded by reporters focused on Min Sung Lee. When one of the young man's associates asks if the guild masters are there to scout him, both make it clear they are not interested. Jin Woo watches from a distance before heading inside for his rank re-evaluation. Inside, Min Sung holds a press conference announcing he plans to join the Fiend Guild as part of a 2-year public image campaign. When Jin Woo tries to enter the testing area, a staff member attempts to block him, but President Go steps in and clears the way. Min Sung tries to follow, but Inspector Woo shuts him down in front of everyone. In the evaluation chamber, Go asks Jin Woo to demonstrate his full capability. When Jin Woo releases his aura, the energy spills far enough out that Baek and Choi feel it from outside and nearly lose their footing. Jin Woo picks up his new license, walks past both guild masters without acknowledging them, and forces his way through the gathered press to leave. His sister sees the news on television. Her brother is officially the 10th S-rank hunter in the country. Meanwhile, Jin Ho's father reprimands him for failing to bring Jin Woo into the family guild. Jin Ho decides he would rather work alongside Jin Woo than take over the family business. At an auction, Jin Woo shops for heat-resistant artifacts and purchases a cloak and a ring. He stations his upgraded orcs at home to watch over his sister, then heads with Jin Ho to the tower. Inside the demon castle, he jumps to the 76th floor and hands the Orb of Avarice to Tusk, who destroys a massive demon instantly. Back in the real world, Jin Ho's father collapses and is diagnosed with the eternal sleep disease. Inside the castle, Jin Woo reaches the 80th floor, finds his shadow soldiers struggling against demon knights, crushes 3 of them, and corners the last one before finishing the job. As he continues through the demonic army, a demon girl named Essel pleads for her life. He agrees to spare her in exchange for a pass to the next floor. She attempts to stab him shortly after, but he lets it slide and uses the moment to extract information. He learns that the system never ordered the demons to kill humans, only to protect the realm, and that their race was brought here after being defeated in their original world. Before she can reveal more, she loses consciousness. She wakes up moments later with no memory of what she said. At the Radiru family stronghold, Jin Woo meets the girl's father and announces he needs to borrow his daughter. The father reacts with alarm until Jin Woo clarifies he only needs her as a guide. With Essel leading him, Jin Woo reaches Baron, the demon monarch. Essel chooses to turn against her own people and fights alongside Jin Woo to protect her family. Jin Woo drives his fist into the boss's skull with enough force to tear it clean off, and the monarch falls. He then installs the Radiru family as the new rulers of that domain. Back in the real world, the insect threat continues escalating. A single flying ant with the strength of an A-rank hunter attacks a smaller island and slaughters dozens of civilians before being brought down. South Korea's leadership coordinates a joint operation with Japan's hunters to storm Jeju Island and eliminate the Ant Queen. With the demon castle cleared, Jin Woo collects the final ingredient for his mother's cure and mixes the potion. He says goodbye to Essel, but the system warns that the dungeon will reset to its original state, meaning the girl will have no memory of him when it does. Meanwhile, Yoon-ho Baek and his retired friend Boo-yong-gu meet at a bar. The two mourn a friend who died on Jeju Island and discuss the upcoming raid with dread. Byung-gu had left the hunter life to work a government desk job. Baek reflects that anyone who chooses the hunter life, knowing what it entails, must not be entirely sane. Byung-gu ultimately decides to come out of retirement and join the raid. Jin Woo, meanwhile, arrives at the hospital to give the cure to his comatose mother. Before he does, a memory surfaces, a moment from his childhood when his mother took a severe burn, shielding him from boiling oil. He tips the liquid into her mouth and waits minutes pass, with no response, but then her eyes open. Jin Woo breaks down while holding her hand. His sister arrives, and the family reunites. Despite the moment, Jin Woo is aware that he is no longer the same person. He has killed people, and there is no walking that back. Tens rank hunters from Japan arrive for the Jeju raid. President Gun Hee-go tries to recruit Jin Woo for the operation. Before he can respond, he senses a powerful energy signature and follows it. He finds Yoo-ho Baek and Dong-wook Ma in a training room, exchanging brutal blows. The Japanese hunters challenge the Koreans to a 4-on-4 match to test each other's strength. Jin Woo sits out, classified on paper as a mage, and watches. The fight escalates beyond what was intended when one of the Japanese hunters loses control and nearly injures Hae-In. Jin Woo intercepts and stops the attack. The Japanese guild master Goto invites Jin Woo to a 1-on-1 match. Jin Woo accepts to test the man's limits. The fight escalates until both are going all out, and the rest of the hunters step in to separate them. Jin Woo settles back into a calm state and uses the confusion to quietly plant shadow soldiers in the blind spots of the other hunters, so he can keep watch on them. While the hunters conduct their test, the Ant Queen observes her offspring cannibalizing each other to survive. She needs a powerful creature to hunt for the colony. The largest egg in the nest then cracks open, and a grotesquely powerful insect emerges. The Jeju Island assault begins, but Jin Woo stays home to be with his mother, who has just come out of her coma. Byung-gu joins the mission at the last moment. There the fleet approaches the island and is met by a massive swarm of flying ants. Choi incinerates the entire swarm with a single enormous fireball. Once on land, the Japanese hunters remain outside to draw the ant horde, while the Korean team moves into the tunnels to find the queen. Partway through the tunnel, the Koreans find the remains of the enormous hatched egg. They register that the situation has worsened, but continue forward. Outside, a Japanese S-rank is overpowered by an ant and calls for help. A healer in the group refuses to help without payment and demands favors or cash. Before she can finish her demands, the new Ant King appears and kills her instantly. The Korean team locates the Ant Queen. The team moves in immediately. Baek transforms into a powerful beast form and creates a distraction, while Hunter Cha steps in and finishes the queen off with a series of precise sword strikes. Before the team can recover, the black ant drops into the chamber. It had already killed multiple Japanese hunters outside and now turns its attention to the Koreans. The creature attacks with extreme brutality, tearing the squad apart and dealing severe wounds across the group. Byung-gu refuses to stop healing, but the ant eventually traces the healing back to him, moves behind him, and kills him. There the ant then loses interest in the survivors and announces it is going to find the ruler of humanity for a real fight. Outside, it encounters Goto, the Japanese guildmaster, and attacks him under the assumption that he is humanity's top authority. Back inside the tunnel, the surviving Korean hunters are about to be overrun by a wave of soldier ants when Jin Woo's shadow warriors burst from the hunters' shadows and hold the line. Jin Woo arrives, distributing healing potions. Baek and Ma recover immediately. When it comes to Hunter Cha, however, her injuries are too severe for the potion to work. The Ant King returns, having killed Goto outside, and descends into the nest looking for more. Jin Woo steps forward to face it. Japan's political leadership, having learned that 7 of their top 10 S-rank hunters are dead, focuses only on finding a way to claim credit for whatever outcome follows. They order the 3 surviving Japanese hunters to return to the island and take the kill if possible. In the nest, Jin Woo and the Ant King fight at a scale that barely resembles anything human. The ant fires venom using its tongue, drenching Jin Woo in the substance. Jin Woo's resistance activates and neutralizes it completely. The Ant King realizes it is outmatched, drops to all fours, and attempts to flee. Jin Woo shows no mercy. He draws his daggers and activates an upgraded version of his mutilate skill, tearing the ant apart until it stops moving. The remaining ants scatter. Jin Woo immediately turns back to Cha. She is fading fast, and the elixir of life he pours on her cannot take hold given how severe her injuries are. With no other option, Jin Woo reaches into the afterlife and pulls out the soul of the late healer Byung-gyu, conscripting him as a shadow soldier. Byung-gyu channels his healing energy into Cha and saves her life. Baek, watching the scene, asks Jin Woo not to keep his friend bound as a soldier. Jin Woo releases the soul. Byung-gyu gives one last smile before dissolving. Japan's political handler, learning that a single Korean hunter eliminated the threat and claimed all the credit, orders the survivors to retreat. Back at the nest, the Korean S-rank hunters move toward the evacuation helicopter. Jin Woo hits level 100. He looks at the Ant King's remains and pulls out its soul, naming his new soldier Beru. The creature can still speak, but now directs every word toward serving its new master. Outside, the Navy clears the remaining ants with assistance from Beru and Jin Woo's airborne shadow creature. A foreign hunter arrives and incinerates hundreds of straggler ants with a single fire blast, making it clear he operates well above the level of the late Goto. After a funeral for Byung-gyu, things settle. Jin Woo announces he intends to form his own guild. The cleanup crew at the ant nest is wiped out by two unknown entities. The two exchange cryptic words while being observed from a distance by Jin Woo's father. Unaware of that development, Jin Woo accepts President Go's request to clear a B-rank gate blocking a road. The gate immediately turns into a red gate, locking him inside until the dungeon is cleared. Jin Woo takes note of it and moves forward, more concerned about being late for dinner than anything else.